All right, we're reading A Course in Miracles. We're on chapter 26. This chapter is called The Transition. And the section we're reading today is section 4, Where Sin Has Left. The original title in Helen's handwritten notebooks was Where Sin Once Was. It's a very similar title. Forgiveness is this world's equivalent of heaven's justice. It translates the world of sin into a simple world where justice can be reflected from beyond the gate behind which total lack of limit lies. Nothing in boundless love could need forgiveness. And what is charity within the world gives way to simple justice past the gate that opens into heaven. No one forgives unless he has believed in sin and still believes that he has much to be forgiven. Forgiveness thus becomes the means by which he learns he has done nothing to forgive. Forgiveness always rests upon the one who offers it until he sees himself as needing it no more, and thus as he returns to his real function of creating, which his forgiveness offers him again. Forgiveness turns the world of sin into a world of glory, wonderful to see. Each flower shines in light, and every bird sings of the joy of heaven. There is no sadness and there is no parting here, for everything is totally forgiven. And what has been forgiven must join, for nothing stands between to keep them separate and apart. The sinless must perceive that they are one, for nothing stands between to push the other off. And in the space that sin left vacant, do they join as one, in gladness recognizing what is part of them has not been kept apart and separate. The holy place on which you stand is but the space that sin has left. And here you see the face of Christ arising in its place. Who could behold the face of Christ and not recall his Father as he really is? Who could fear love and stand upon the ground where sin has left a place for heaven's altar to rise and tower far above the world and reach beyond the universe to touch the heart of all creation? What is heaven but a song of gratitude and love and praise by everything created to the source of its creation? The holiest of altars is set where once sin was believed to be. And here does every light of heaven come to be rekindled and increased in joy. For here is what was lost restored to them, and all their radiance made whole again. Forgiveness brings no little miracles to lay before the gate of heaven. Here the Son of God himself comes to receive each gift that brings him nearer to his home. Not one is lost, and none is cherished more than any other. Each reminds him of his Father's love as surely as the rest, and each one teaches him that what he feared he loves the most. What but a miracle could change his mind so that he understands that love cannot be feared? What other miracle is there but this? And what else need there be to make the space between you disappear? Where sin once was perceived will rise a world that will become an altar to the truth, and you will join the lights of heaven there and sing their song of gratitude and praise. And as they come to you to be complete, so will you go with them. For no one hears the song of heaven and remains without a voice that adds its power to the song and makes it sweeter still. And each one joins the singing at the altar that was raised within the tiny spot that sin proclaimed to be its own. And what was tiny then has soared into a magnitude of song in which the universe has joined with but a single voice. This tiny spot of sin that stands between you still is holding back the happy opening of heaven's gate. How little is the hindrance that withholds the wealth of heaven from you, and how great will be the joy in heaven when you join the mighty chorus to the love of God. Okay, this is a very short little passage here. Where sin has left. There is a reference here to the burning bush, where God says out of the burning bush to Moses, this is in Exodus, the book of Exodus, take off your shoes because the place on which you stand is holy ground, right? So here, Jesus says, the holy place on which you stand is but a space that sin has left. So now, really the space in which you stand is any place, right? because sin is an illusion. Forgiveness is also an illusion. This is the point of what Jesus is saying here, is that forgiveness is necessary in this world to return our minds to the understanding that there never was anything to forgive, because sin is unreal. If sin and guilt are unreal, so is forgiveness. So let's read this. Forgiveness is the world's equivalent of heaven's justice. So in this world, forgiveness makes sense. And it just echoes the justice of heaven. In heaven, forgiveness is also an illusion. There is no even concept of forgiveness. Forgiveness does not exist. Right? Jesus tells us on several occasions in the Course that God does not even know about the world. Right? God does not know the ego. The ego does not know God. Never the twain shall meet. So God does not know forgiveness. We use these terms only, we use all the terminology we do to talk about God only because we need something to talk about it. Forgiveness is the world's equivalent of heaven's justice. It translates the world of sin into a simple world where justice can be reflected from beyond the gate behind which total lack of limit lies. Nothing in boundless love could need forgiveness, right? Nothing in boundless love. So heaven or God is boundless love, and there's no forgiveness there because there's no need for it. Only in this world where we think that forgiveness is needed, but ultimately it's not needed. But it is needed because we think that we have sinned and we think that we're guilty. So we have to undo that way of thinking, right? That thought system of the ego. And what is charity within the world gives way to simple justice past the gate that opens into heaven. No one forgives unless he has believed in sin and still believes that he has much to be forgiven. So no one here, we all think that we have sinned on some level. Might just be a little bit. We feel bad. We feel downcast. We feel faint of heart because we feel guilty. We feel that we have done something horrible. We've done something really wrong. On some level, we may not be in touch with that. We may not be fully in touch with the depth of that thought, of sin, of guilt. And if you weren't in touch with it before, the Course will help you get in touch with that. Forgiveness always rests upon the one who offers it, right? So the one who offers forgiveness receives it until he sees himself as needing it no more. So you keep offering forgiveness and remembering. Now we're talking about true forgiveness. What is true forgiveness? Forgiveness is the understanding, is the atonement principle, which is the understanding that there is nothing to forgive, right? That what you thought was real and something worthy of punishment, of justice, of judgment, is not, right? That's forgiveness. It's not forgiveness the way we look at it, which is, Jesus actually calls it forgiveness to destroy. I believe that's in the Song of Prayer, which I will read at some point. Forgiveness to destroy is, you did something wrong to me, but I'm going to be bigger than you, and I'm going to forgive you for that, right? But you still did something wrong. And forgiveness for the Course is, you did not do anything to me that I did not first do to myself, right? It is upon me actually to forgive myself because I feel guilty. Whatever you did to me only has shown me that it's true, that I feel guilty and I'm not at peace. So in a sense, I really, should feel towards you is gratitude, because you've only just showed me, you showed me that I am not at peace. I feel guilty. So you're my savior, because you have helped me to see that. If I only had the eyes to see that. Forgiveness turns the world of sin into a world of glory, wonderful to see. This is where it gets poetic. Each flower shines in light, and every bird sings of the joy of heaven. There is no sadness and there's no parting here, for everything is totally forgiven. And what has been forgiven must join, for nothing stands between to keep them separate and apart. So I really think that Jesus is getting at the idea that even in this world, we can get close to this understanding. We can see the world through the eyes of love and not of fear, right? Until we get to the point where we realize the world has nothing, right? Because the world is a world of separation, and if there is no sin, there's no need for forgiveness. There's no need for a world, because the world is only the place where we thought we needed to work out our karma, so to speak, or free ourselves from our sin, which is really impossible if you look at it, because you keep trying to get rid of the sin, but the sin remains, right? If you believe in sin, but if you believe in forgiveness, the sin has never been, right? So it's very simple. That's why Jesus says this is very simple, actually, right? Because the belief in sin is not simple at all. It's very complicated, convoluted, and it will keep you spinning for eternity. Or, not eternity, but it'll keep you spinning indefinitely until you do something to make it stop. And the Course is one method to do that. The holy place on which you stand is but the space that sin has left, and here you see the face of Christ arising in its place. Who could behold the face of Christ and not recall his Father as he really is? Who could fear love and stand upon the ground where sin has left a place for heaven's altar to rise and tower far above the world and reach beyond the universe to touch the heart of all creation? Now one thing Jesus says is that when you get to that place where you realize there's nothing to forgive, now you are free to join in God's creation. And what is God's creation? God's creation is only love, right? So you are free to be truly creative, which is to be only love, only loving. And that does not sound inviting, I guess, to most of us, because we, who would want to be only loving? That sounds boring and not very fun and dramatic. But what is heaven but a song of gratitude and love and praise by everything created to the source of its creation? Right? It's a beautiful image. Again, not everyone would find that inviting, to be part of this song to God, basically, or to the source of all. This song of heaven. The holiest of altars is set where once sin was believed to be. And here does every light of heaven come to be rekindled and increased in joy. For here is what was lost restored to them, and all their radiance made whole again. Now, this may not be fully appealing to us or inviting to us, but we can't deny the fact that this idea of forgiveness is very useful, especially when we realize how much we suffer and we're depressed and dejected, etc., because we believe in sin and guilt and fear, right? So, if anything, the Course is helpful for us right here and now, where we are. Forget about where it's leading to. And I think Jesus is saying that too. Forget about where this is all leading to. he's telling you, he's telling you what is not there. What is not there is fear. What is not there is judgment. What is not there is any lack of forgiveness. What is not there is separation. He's not really telling you what it is, because you won't know what it is until you get there. And that's part of the problem, is that we think we know what it is, but we don't know what it is. Right? We won't know until we get there. But until we get there, this course could be very helpful because, we all deal with feeling all these horrible things, right? And why do we feel these things? Because of lack of forgiveness. I think that's the simple truth, lack of forgiveness, lack of understanding, ignorance of our true self. All these things are in the way. And so the course can be very helpful here and now, right where we are, dealing with the world as it is. Forgiveness brings no little miracles to lay before the gate of heaven. Here the Son of God himself comes to receive each gift that brings him nearer to his home. So we receive the gift each time that we practice forgiveness. Not one is lost, and none is cherished more than any other. Each reminds him of his Father's love as surely as the rest, and each one teaches him that what he feared he loves the most. Everything you think you fear right now, you really love, but you just don't remember, right? What but a miracle could change his mind so that he understands that love cannot be feared? That is a miracle, right? If you think of something that you feared before and now you actually love, how did that happen? It is miraculous. What other miracle is there but this? Forget about, all the miracles that Jesus was supposed to have done in the Gospels. Those aren't the real miracles. The real miracle is the release of fear and the awakening to love. That is the real miracle, right? And what else need there be to make the space between you disappear? So there is a space. There's still a little hindrance. That's the next section, is the little hindrance. There's a little space. We still have a little belief in sin, guilt, and fear, right? We still hold on to that. It's still in the way. But Jesus is assuring us that as we practice, as we do this inner work, slowly but surely, heaven will reveal itself. And we will see that life has no end. It's eternal. And what we thought was real, what we thought was real is not real. And what we thought was not real is real. It's the opposite of what we think. This tiny spot of sin that stands between you still is holding back the happy opening of heaven's gate. How little is the hindrance that withholds the wealth of heaven from you, and how great will be the joy in heaven when you join the mighty chorus to the love of God. So heaven waits for you because you are heaven. because as long as you are not in heaven, there is some, in a sense, there is a lack, because you feel the lack, right? And Jesus keeps reminding us that we're not far. There's just a little bit to go here. We're not far. Once we've gotten to this point, there's just a little more to undo, and we will see it. So you can rejoice in that you who are listening to this, who have come this far, you're almost there. So don't keep the faith. Don't give up hope. There is an unfolding to truth. There is a reality to self-realization, to realizing your true self. So if that is what you truly want, if you really want to know the truth, if you really want to know what you are, then keep going. Thank you for listening, and The little hindrances next. See you soon. Om.